Hello, one and all. Dynabuster here, and welcome to Dynamic Revolutiween. Don't worry, Easy Rider will sue eventually. Well, it's the month of October, which means Halloween is close by, so I decided to dress up for the occasion. And who am I dressed up as? Well, the Game Master himself, Dan Caroto. Because the suit jacket and the shirt, which is something totally he would say. Rex, why aren't you wearing a costume?
I'm busy trying to work on coding data for the weapons. Besides, I'm not gonna dress up as a Smurf. I'm not even blue. I'm mostly red. So it'd be better for me to go as a peppermint. Speaking of which, do they even give those out on Halloween anymore?
Fine. Well, given that Halloween is coming by, I think it'd be a good time to look at this flick, Monster House. Imagine if someone pitched to you that they wanted to make a movie based around the Monster House. You think that would just be a bland Monster House we've seen billions of times, but that's not what they meant. They literally meant a Monster House, means the house is alive! That would sound really stupid, but yet it works. Let's chow down on some Hershey's and Kit Kats. This is Monster House. We start by seeing a little girl ride her bicycle. Bicycle, bicycle. Until she lands on the lawn of a really decrepit house. A scrawny Robert England lookalike named Mr. Nevercracker runs out of the house in anger and scares the little girl off.
My trike.
Stay away from my house!
Given all that anger he has, he's probably a Trump supporter. Spying on him, we meet our main character, DJ, whose parents are leaving town for the weekend. Once they leave, they accidentally back into his best friend, Chowder. No, not that Chowder. Anyways, while playing basketball, the ball lands on Nevercracker's lawn, and DJ tries to get it. Unfortunately, Nevercracker runs towards him in anger.
You are
DJ! Help! Help!
And now, let's play a game of What Will Happen Next? Thank you, Rex. Mr. Nevercracker is pissed that DJ messed up his lawn. What will happen next? A. Mr. Nevercracker will bring him into the house and mutilate him, thus sending the film. B. Chowder will help his friend instead of just standing there and do nothing. Or C. Mr. Nevercracker will have a stroke and collapse on DJ. Wait, what?
Why can't you just stay away from her?
Okay, this movie just took a dark turn. After Nevercracker is taken to the hospital on an ambulance, DJ's babysitter arrives named Elizabeth.
And it's Z.
Z?
You mean this Z? During the night when DJ has a dream of being on Nightmare on Elm Street, he is woken up by the phone, where the call is strangely coming from Mr. Nevercracker's house.
Happy Halloween, doofus!
Nice one, Phone.
Look at his face.
Duh! You're supposed to be scary with the mask on, not without it! After these two dickheads piss DJ off, he decides to get to the bottom of this and calls Chowder to the construction site. After Bones harasses Z,
He ate her! Ah!
she kicks him out where he takes his anger out on Nevercracker's lawn. He suddenly notices his red kite that Nevercracker took from him as a kid and is lured into the house by the glowing red kite. Clearly, this is a good thing. DJ meets with Chowder at the construction site and they go investigate the house. Chowder pulls a ding-dong ditch on the house, thus discovering that the house is alive! Yet people don't seem to notice when the house roars. The next morning, while DJ and Chowder are observing any detectable movement, we are introduced to our third character, Jenny. Once she walks up to the house, DJ and Chowder try to stop her, but the house attacks her anyways and tries to eat her, but they save her anyways. Z decides to be a bitch and practically leaves the kids alone and searches for bones. They welcome Jenny into their group, with Chowder of course flirting with her, and notice a dog get eaten. They decide to take action and call the cops. Not to anyone's shock, the cops don't believe them, giving the kids another option to go to an expert, who is a pizza delivery man named Skull. No, not that Skull.
Possessed house, you say? In my travels to the video store and comic book conventions, I've seen many strange and wondrous things. And I've heard tell of man-made structures becoming possessed by a human soul, so that the spirit becomes merged with wood and brick, creating a rare form of monster known as Domus Mactibilis.
The house is Mr. Nevercracker.
They hatch a plan to take out its heart, and by that I mean its furnace. It almost succeeds, but the cops interfere and tries to arrest him. The house comes alive and eats them, and then attacks the car. Again, nobody is noticing a fully animate house using trees as arms to eat a cop car. Anyways, the three survive and explore the house. They find pictures of Nevercracker and his departed wife, Constance, and then find what is supposed the heart, but when they shoot at it, it's actually the uvula.
What? I thought if I shot the heart, then... That's not the heart. Then what is it? Well, if those are the teeth, and that's the tongue, then that must be the uvula. Oh. So it's a girl house. What? No, it stimulates the gag reflex. Everyone has a uvula. Not me.
It's funny because Chowder doesn't know the difference between a uvula and a vagina. They all fall into the basement, finding the numerous toys Nevercracker took, and the corpse of his wife covered in cement.
Way to go, big nose!
They wake up the house, where it again tries to eat them. Jenny does a smart thing and simulates the uvula, making the house puke them out. Okay? All seems to fail until DJ gets hit by an ambulance. Nevercracker is revealed to be alive, and by calling the house Honey, you should put the pieces together.
As long as I'm here, I will never let anyone hurt you.
Constance! You vandals! You hooligans! I'll get you! This now!
DJ convinces Mr. Nevercracker to let her go, knowing that he is not alone. Constance gets pissed, using the trees as arms, and chases them. Again, it is Halloween night, and yet no one is noticing this! Someone has to notice this! The chase ends at the construction site from earlier, where Chowder fights back by driving an excavator. You explain how that happens. He is successful in destroying the house, but it regenerates. Cheater. The only way to stop it is by blowing it up, so DJ takes a dynamite stick from Mr. Nevercracker, and we see the most coolest scene in this film ever. And somewhere, Michael Bay has orgasmed. After its destruction, Nevercracker is distraught that his wife is gone, but is in glee that they are both free from the house after 45 years. They all give back the toys Nevercracker took to numerous trick-or-treaters, including the little girl's tricycle at the beginning of the film. Jenny leaves, and DJ and Chowder celebrate the night by going trick-or-treating. Now time for analyzation time. The house itself has a really neat design that gives itself a creepy vibe. The dark colors it has really does a great job differentiating itself from other houses, showing that it is a normal house. I like how creative the makers of the film got when they went inside the house, giving it traits of a normal human, like a tongue, which is the carpet, teeth, which is the porch, the uvula being a light, and the furnace the heart. The animation is pretty neat for the most part. I'm glad that this is a motion capture film, which I am a huge fan of. Only con I have for it is everyone's hair looks like clay and barely moves at all. I have to put my foot down when no one can notice a giant house that is alive and moving across the street by using trees as arms. By not having any citizens barely mentioned at all, it just doesn't feel realistic. It was pretty creepy when the house ate all the people it ate, but it turns out at the end, they weren't literally eaten, just trapped in the basement. Originally, there were plans to have the house actually eat and kill them, but it was cut from the script because it was too dark from a kid's movie. I felt great. I'm going to give it an 81%. This movie was pretty enjoyable. The animation is fun to look at, the story is interesting and paced well, and while some characters may have their douchey moments, others are likable and have their funny moments. And that ends today's episode. Be sure to like and... What was that? Hey, Rexy, what the f... Getcha! What are you doing here? And why are you still flame like you're 2D? And that is how you use the memes, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy Halloween, bitches! Anyway, please subscribe to my channel. I make some good content, and I'm really desperate. Fuck this kid. Just fuck him. This is just, this whole thing. This is just all, this... yeah, just fuck just fuck this kid. Just like, fuck this kid. This is the worst thing I have ever seen. I don't even really remember Monster House being a thing. Bye.
Seconds on the clock. I'm playing basketball. It's time for an in-your-face disgrace. Are you okay?